So basically, you can't be mean enough to these women. This is going to be the first video of a three-part series called How Women Betrayed Man. And yesterday, for those of you who are interested and who've been watching my videos for a while, I'll tell you what happened. But I was talking to several different women, and I realized how horrible women are. Ironically, there is one woman that I've been talking to that I respect. For those of you who know about my oath of celibacy, no kissing, no holding, no relationships, etc., no sex. And so, basically, it's a long story, but, the MGTOWs who say that going to the strip club is the answer to not dating. You rather pay a woman, rather pay an escort, etc., that you save money, you don't get married. Well, these escorts, these strippers, these hookers, these cam models, the phone sex lines, etc., they're all feminists and gold diggers too. Okay, some of them are drug addicts, some of them are just straight up gold diggers. All of them pretty much are feminists because they're the people that feminists defend. They say don't slut shame. Who do you think they're trying to defend the most when it comes to that? The people I just described. They believe in women with power because when they get that money, they act like they're the shit. They act like, oh, I'm something special. You'll have escorts walking around the mall like they're married to the fucking king of Jordan or something, okay? King of Saudi Arabia or something. Like they're the queen of fucking England, like they're the queen of hearts. And so, I've seen a lot of feminist bullshit, okay? It's all bullshit, I'll debunk it one at a time, I used to believe in the wage gap, and I made some videos saying women should get paid fair. I do believe they should be paid fairly. But I don't believe that they're not being paid fairly. A lot of information has come out that all their studies ignore key factors such as certifications, such as what type of degree women have. They look at, say, the IT field, and they expect that people with certain degrees should get paid as much as the engineers, who have certifications as well. They're not truly looking at the same education. They're not truly looking at the same things. They're not looking at a female software engineer with 2 certifications versus a male one with 2 certifications and a degree, etc., the same credentials. They're not looking at it like that, And when they explain the reason why it is the way it is, it comes out, And so the bottom line, it was a woman that said that stereotypes are true. Excuse me, stereotypes exist for a reason. And, whether it's blacks, committing crime and a lot of them being locked up, or it's women being the lesser sex, it's either true or has a lot of truth in it. And, I'm black, and I have a mother just like anyone else. But let's be honest now. They're the lesser sex, You hear stories of female shamans. Females will say, well, we were the first shamans, the first religion. No, you weren't. Shut the fuck up. Okay? This is a conversation I've had with my mom, one of the most educated people I know, where she said that the original female, quote-unquote, shamans were actually, they gave their bodies to the shaman. They learned the shamanistic rituals by giving their bodies to the male shamans. And in the process, they learned how to do certain rituals, and they kind of broke off. They learned from the men, and they kind of try to do it on their own. Same with martial arts, The females learned from the male monks in the Shaoxi forest, the Shaolin style, their Kung Fu, one of the original arts that all the other arts pretty much stole their ideas from. And, they broke off on their own. You hear another feminist lie that, women were revered in Egypt. That's why fucking Nefertiti was set up to die, by the cult of Amun, I believe it was. Because they didn't respect a female pharaoh. The pharaoh was supposed to be a man, and it could only be respected as a man, and a man with a beard, or a fake beard, depending on the case, And so, there's so much lies. And then I saw this video about, woman hits as hard as man, and there was this man who was heavier than her, big, pretty strong boxer, and then there was this woman, this female boxer. And so when they hit the doll, it's kind of like fight science. They have a doll, and it measures how much, how much pounds of force you produce, etc. The guy kind of, he uses, you know, his body kind of like that, right? The woman, you know, she takes 2 steps, and like, you could totally tell her form was different. You know, if the guy had done it the same way as her, he would have hit harder than her. She took 2 steps, you know? And she threw like her whole body into it, as opposed to just throwing, just, you know, using your hips and, you know, etc., etc., you know? And so, as a result, obviously women don't hit as hard as men, you know? Hitting like a girl, she tried to play it off as, oh, it's just hitting, you know, with your arm or, you know, with your shoulder. No, you know, shut the fuck up, you know? Even when women hit right, they don't hit as hard, okay? I've been doing martial arts for 20 fucking years, okay? I was fucking 14 years old when I started doing martial arts, you know, doing taekwondo, okay? You know, even the fucking, you know, my master's daughters, all due respect to them, you know, they were black belts when I started, I'm pretty sure. Matter of fact, they were black belts when I started. They had been doing it longer than me, you know? But they couldn't hit harder than I could, even when I started, you know? Even with all the knowledge they had better form, you know? In fact, they probably still have better form than I do, you know? But they're not a better fighter than me. They don't hit as hard as I do, you know? And they don't hit as hard as the average guy either, you know? With all due respect, you know? This is just the truth. So, you know, the idea of a woman martial artist being great, you see women martial artists in movies like Tomb Raider and you know, that one Asian lady, you know, and then there was Shannon Lee, you know, you have articles about her trying to, you know, make her seem great. No, she's no Bruce Lee. She's no Brandon Lee. She's no, you know, fucking Mr. Lee, you know, at your neighborhood fucking Chinese food restaurant. She probably couldn't beat him up, you know? So what the fuck are we talking about here? We're talking about women lying about mind, body, and soul. They haven't accomplished as much as men. They're not as smart as men. The stereotype of women being ditzy and stupid, trust me, that is true. I've talked to a lot of women in my life, okay? I'm 3 years old. I've talked to tons of women in my life. I've talked to tons of men in my life, you know? I'm sure all of you know the same. If you think about all the women that you've talked to, you know, I'm sure you can all agree that the men tend to be smarter, women tend to be ditzy. They tend to be like, oh, what does that mean? Oh, what, you know, oh, like, you try to talk to them, they're just dumb, you know? And so, and then you get these educated women, you know, these women at Stanford who got raped, you know? I mean, tell me how women who are the victims of men outsmarting them and raping them, even when they go to a frat house, even when they go to places where it's notorious for women being raped, it's the same as a female guard walking into a rapist cell naked, off camera with no other guards around, you know, walking all sexy and getting raped. You know, when do we realize that if a victim victimizes themselves, if a victim does something beyond stupid, that you should blame the victim? It's not entirely their fault, obviously. Obviously, the rapist is the one who decided to rape them. Yeah, no shit, no fucking shit. That goes without saying. That's self-explanatory. That's self-evident. It's fucking blatantly obvious. But what isn't so obvious, it seems, which should be obvious, is when you do something ridiculously stupid and something happens to you, that nobody should feel sorry for you. Yeah, the guy should still get charged with a crime because he broke the law. Personally, what I feel is that women who do stupid things and get raped, it should be legal to rape a woman doing something extremely stupid. That's my personal belief. And that's something that I came to the conclusion of last night, okay? And I'd go as far as saying I don't feel sorry when women are raped anymore. And neither should any of you. Unless they're a Muslim doing what they're supposed to do. Unless they're, you know, they're raped because they were black, you know, and that was the driving force behind it, not because they're a pretty slut doing something stupid. You know, when someone's asking for it, they're asking for it, okay? If somebody insults me and my religion, just for the same reason I don't feel sorry for the Charlie Hebdo victims, quote unquote. You know, you were asking for it, you got what you asked for. I mean, what more is there to say, you know? You can't complain an innocent, I mean, you can't compare an innocent person in jail, you know, being raped by some huge guy, you know, when they had nowhere out of it, you know, when they're in the cell with this guy and there's nowhere to go, you know, with you know, women being raped, okay? When men are raped, it makes a lot more fucking sense, you know? And I do feel sorry for male rape victims because it's usually a brutal, violent killer who rapes them, you know, and they're in a situation they can't get out of, and a lot of times they're innocent. But a female rape victim, 99.9% of the time, is simply a dumb bitch. Thank you.